Coming up in today's Access Asia, Beijing furious after an international tribunal rules that it does not have a historic right to exploit the South China Sea. Tibetans of all ages are getting on their hands and knees right now looking for a hidden treasure that thrives inside dead insects. And today's show is probably the closest you'll ever get to this, the pristine waters of Lakshadweep in India. We'll tell you why in a moment. Beijing has no historic rights over the South China Sea. An arbitration court in The Hague recently ruled that China cannot exercise undivided sovereignty over this strategic stretch of water. It's rich in energy, fish, and it's a major trade route, which helps explain why all the surrounding countries have laid claim to it. Jess Sestili has more on the regional context.
The South China Sea, at the heart of a long-running dispute between several South Asian nations. Lee Hun, a Vietnamese fisherman, has seen firsthand this growing tension.
10 years ago, it was easy for us to go fishing around these islands, but over the last 5 years, we've been scared to go out there.
Scared not of the sea, but of the Chinese, who've been aggressively laying their claim here.
I'm really angry. The Paracel Islands belong to Vietnam, and China wants to stop us from fishing here. They're violent and sometimes they even destroy our boats.
There's no place for sharing when it comes to these disputed waters, and many battles have taken place here. Like in this video, the little Vietnamese boat is no match for China's green charge. And here, a Chinese tugboat hurtles full throttle into rivals. Even China's coast guards play a key role, stamping out any maritime competition.
I strongly condemn China's actions concerning its illegal occupation of the Paracel and Spratly Islands. They're violating maritime and international laws, and Vietnam cannot accept this.
Over the last several years, China's been applying its 9-dash line, geographical markings which define the nation's boundaries, to claim sovereignty over 90% of the region, including the Paracel and the Spratly Islands. The area is rich in fishing and hydrocarbons and holds some of the world's most important shipping lanes. China's beefed up its military presence here by building on several of the sea's outcrops and partially submerged reefs to show just who's king of the seas. Take the Fiery Cross Reef. In 2014, it was largely untouched. But fast forward to September 2015 and it's equipped with airstrips, which experts believe could house a Boeing 737. But the tides could be changing. A recent international tribunal sitting ruled that China's 9-dash line was invalid and that the state had violated its maritime obligations. Yet a spokesman for China's foreign ministry downplayed the ruling, saying the court had engaged in a farce. With no legal authority to really enforce this ruling, countries like Vietnam might be a bit pessimistic that China might eventually back down from its nautical power trip.
It's early summer in Tibet right now, which means that villages are empty and schools are closed as entire families head for higher ground and get on their hands and knees. Now, you see, for many people, half the annual income comes from collecting a precious mushroom, the ultra-rare cordyceps. It feeds on dead insects and it features prominently in Chinese medicine. Martine Laroche-Joubert and Kathy Clifford bring us this report.
At heights of over 4,000 meters, a Tibetan valley cut off from the world. Once yaks like these provided nomads' main income here, now there's a more lucrative way to make a living. Checkpoints keep non-Tibetan poachers off local territory because this land conceals a rare national treasure. Lurking in the grassy slopes, the cordyceps, or caterpillar mushroom.
Normally, we find them close to the little bushes, but nothing today.
As we head for higher ground, the road becomes almost impassable. En route, we meet someone else headed in the same direction. School's out for a month for the picking season, and like most other pupils, 15-year-old Yutsu has come to help her family.
I'll start looking for mushrooms at 8 in the morning and continue until nightfall. It's a very important month for us.
The family gets ready to face the day in sub-zero temperatures. It's a steep climb, and oxygen levels drop the higher they head. After an hour on the ascent, not a single mushroom, when suddenly the whole family shares their delight at the first find of the season. With only a tiny camouflaged tuft rearing its head, the cordyceps is invisible to the untrained eye.
It's huge. Have a look. It's my first one of the day.
Last year, the person that picked the most earned almost 3,000 euros. That's half a year's income.
The cordyceps spent the winter germinating underground within a caterpillar larvae, killing the creature and mummifying it until the fungus emerges from the corpse. The mushrooms are so rare that those who search for them never keep them. They're bartered for, sold and transported to the town of Yushu, 3 hours away, the regional hub for mushroom dealing. Here, they're brushed clean and prepared for sale. Chinese medicine credits them as antioxidant, immune-boosting, antiviral, anti-tumor and energy-enhancing.
It's very good for the kidneys, the liver and the skin, and for lungs damaged by pollution in big cities. 1 or 2 grams a day is enough.
But with rarity comes a high price. So much so that negotiations are made undercover. The details of the transactions kept top secret. However, their value has decreased. Since the Chinese president began a crackdown on corruption, the government's been keeping tabs on prices. At the Yushu market, at least, wholesalers buy this quantity of the fungus for around 2,000 euros. In Beijing, the same amount would set you back 10 times more. The cordyceps, then, a treasure worth hunting.
We take you now to Lakshadweep, possibly one of the most beautiful places you've never been to and probably will never go to. Pristine waters, white sands. This is what it looks like. It's an Indian archipelago very few people get to see. The government strictly controlling the number of visitors in order to protect the unique ecosystem. Our partner station, France 2, though, got rare access.
Touching down in a little-known corner of paradise. But would-be visitors have to be lucky and patient to be allowed in. Everyone needs a permit from the Indian government, and the waiting list is 1 year long. The new arrivals aren't allowed out of this room until their documents have been thoroughly checked.
Basically, they need a special permit. As police, we have to verify everything.
So tourists can go everywhere in India, but not here.
No, they can come here, but they need a permit.
Once they've been let out, they're piled into these official taxis. And then onto the official tourism boat. The archipelago is called Lakshadweep. It means 100,000 islands in the local tongue. There are actually 36, and 10 of them are inhabited. Hotel blocks are nowhere to be seen. Visitors stay in these huts.
Tent is already made up with no any cement or any other chemical activities. Only we are using natural and coconut leaf and bamboo.
And there are only 13 huts. The Indian government wants to protect the precious yet fragile environment, particularly the coral. If mass tourism were to come here, the reefs wouldn't survive, and the islands would also be in danger.
we get good protection from that corals. So otherwise, when big waves are coming nearby the shore, sometimes soil erosion will happen more, and so many coconut trees are fall down because of that big waves. So we have to keep that corals alive.
Locals earn a living by selling fish and coconuts. Some would like to see tourism develop a bit more.
So they can provide at least 10 rooms or 5 rooms for one person and make the arrangement, all the things, that's better.
This used to be a small hotel, but it's been abandoned because the Indian government shut it down. And there are no plans to open any more. For now, protecting the environment comes first.
As the show wraps up, we would be remiss in our duties if we didn't bring you the sights and sounds of the WWC, the World Whistlers Convention in Kawasaki, Japan. 50 competitors, 5 countries, and a drive to take whistling to a whole new level. To prove your skills, you choose a pop tune or a more classical piece if you're so inclined. It's got to be between 2 and 5 minutes long, and you just let rip. That's it for Access Asia this week. Don't forget you can watch this show and many others online. That's on France24.com.